Officially. Here we go. The Batman official synopsis calls Bruce Wayne a delusioned, desperate vigilante. Imagine life as Batman. You're Bruce Wayne, racked by PTSD, trying to do the right thing and clean up your city of rampant crime and corruption, flying around looking all cool and stuff, shooting some b-ball outside of the school, and a couple of guys who are up to no good started making trouble in your neighborhood. Got in one little fight and your mom got scared and said, "You're moving because me and your dad are dead and you're going to have to live in a cave underneath the big house."
It was. Please, is that part of the article? I wasn't looking.
No, it's not.
Also, I said, like, what's going on? What?
He lives in a lair.
Flying around looking all cool is there and stuff in the middle of the night, and bam, you're suddenly condemned to a controversial public image where people sling around hurtful words like disillusion, desperate vigilante at you all the time. On second thought, some of this is probably a self-inflicted thing, fresh off last month's trailer reveal and the striking posters. Timed for the DC fandom event, Warner Brothers has released a new and updated synopsis for The Batman. Intuitive fans could discern quite a lot about the movie from the most recent footage, but a little extra plot description can't hurt to set the tone of what fans can expect out of this newest iteration of the Caped Crusader. Just make sure you don't repeat it around Batman himself. The poor fella tends to get a little sad and mopey sometimes. Why so furious, it says. As the crown jewel of the DC superheroes, at least in terms of the big screen, every Batman movie seems to come with all sorts of demands and expectations about what it brings to the table that we haven't already seen before. Christopher Nolan famously revamped the franchise and brought it into a much more serious-minded light. Zack Snyder took the deconstructionalist route, using Frank Miller's Dark Comics as inspiration to controversially push the character much farther into darkness than ever depicted for general audiences before. George Clooney killed the character. So what... That's not in there. So what can Matt Reeves do that the last two major reboots haven't already covered? Check out the new synopsis, it says, and see for yourself. Here's the synopsis, guys. Tell me what you think of this. The Batman is an edgy, action-packed thriller that depicts Batman in his early years, struggling to balance rage with righteousness as he investigates a disturbing mystery that has terrorized Gotham. Robert Pattinson delivers a raw, intense portrayal of a Batman as a disillusioned, desperate vigilante awakened by the realization that the anger consuming him makes him no better than the ruthless serial killer he's hunting.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's the synopsis right there. I love it when they have to tell you it's edgy. Batman isn't edgy.
No, it's not edgy. It doesn't sound edgy at all.
Nope, not at all.
Not one bit. No.
He's struggling to balance rage with righteousness as he investigates a disturbing mystery that has terrorized Gotham. Robert Pattinson delivers a raw, intense portrayal of a Batman as a disillusioned, desperate vigilante awakened by the realization that the anger consuming him makes him no better than the ruthless serial killer he's hunting. Yeah, I get it. Some fans will roll their eyes at this and claim that once you've heard one Batman synopsis, you've likely heard them all. It's true that the above plot description is just about what you'd expect from a modern and grounded take on the classic superhero. But the devil's in the details, folks. Even before this new information, I've been intrigued by how the Batman appears to blend the familiar Nolan aesthetic with a more heightened tone that reminds audiences that they are, in fact, watching a comic book movie. Now, this new description seems to confirm my inklings from the trailer that Robert Pattinson's Bruce Wayne is not as buttoned up and in control as previous versions. He's a rookie. Well, a sophomore at least, who doesn't quite understand yet just how his methods must differ from the criminals in his path. It's just different enough that Christian Bale and Ben Affleck's versions to justify Pattinson's casting, and personally, I'm here for it. So what do you guys think?
Oof. I'll let Joe go first. Yeah.
This is the DC movie that I am that is the lowest on my anticipation level for a number of reasons. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm going to go see this, but First of all, the word grounded. As soon as they use the word grounded, they've kind of lost me. I don't want my Batman grounded anymore. I want fantasy in my Batman. I want a world where Clayface and Man-Bat are part of his rogues gallery. I'm tired of this
Ooh.
gritty realism. Like, I don't want realism. I want realism. I'm going to watch the 6 o'clock news. It's one of my issues with the Nolan films, which are the best versions I think you could have of a realistic Batman. But just because they're the best versions of that, that's still not what I want. That's like saying this is the most delicious hamburger in the world when what I want is a pizza. I'm tired of Grounded. I'm tired. I don't like the fact that Riddler just looks like Hush in green. I don't know. I'm going to go see this movie. I'm sure it is good because Matt Reeves is a heck of a good director. He's a great screenwriter. Robert Pattinson's a great actor. This is not going to be a bad movie by any means, but I can't get excited for it.
That's interesting. Todd
Yeah.
here with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Todd. Says the wrestler Jeff Hardy does this move called poetry in motion, and the MCU is like poetry in motion. Do you agree, Enosh? Look, I'll agree that Eternals was really done well, and you know what? Part of the reason for that is because there wasn't a bunch of jokey jokes. It took itself serious,
What?
and I really
there wasn't any
enjoyed that.
jokes. It was a
There were
serious
jokes.
movie.
There were jokes, but it was
Oh.
it didn't deter.
Thank God for
from the
Kumail. He made the movie watchable.
Oh, I still haven't seen it yet.
I'll be honest with you. You know who my favorite character was
Cersei.
Cersei. Yeah, Cersei.
Oh,
She was excellent in it. I thought she was absolutely excellent. She took command of that film, and she did a phenomenal job. Phenomenal job.
you know what? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, just from like watching the trailers, I'm kind of hyped about it, but like I'm trying not to let like the reviews and kind of like what other people are saying about the movie kind of like kind of affect how I'm gonna see the movie. So I'm just trying to like stay focused and like I watch the trailers. I'm like I'm kind of hyped for this. I'm kind of curious of what's gonna do. I heard the post-credit scenes are absolutely wild. At least the second one I've heard on Twitter and stuff like that. But I don't know. I'm interested to see the movie, but I'm not like super interested to where like I have to go see it soon. So I'm just gonna probably watch it whenever I have the chance or a free weekend. But yeah, I think it looks good.
So what? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say it has Dune syndrome in that everybody whispers and talks real low, like it's a lot of
Everything's a
serious
secret?
talking. Like early on when Icarus and Cersei first introduced themselves, and he's like, "I'm Icarus," and she goes, "I'm Cersei." They were talking so low and so whispery that I thought she said her name was Sassy. And I'm
So
like,
did
oh
I.
my god, this character's name's
Hold on,
Sassy.
that's weird that you say that because I thought she said that her name was Sassy as well, and I was like,
Oh no.
what?
They got so many
But-
Games of Thrones people up in there.
But
They got
I disagree that it that it's anything like Dune because honestly, like I did not enjoy Dune. I was not, I understand why people are a fan of Dune, but Dune wasn't for me. But this movie, dude, was totally for me. Like I really enjoyed Eternals. So
See, I enjoyed it to a certain degree, but I think it took itself way too seriously. Like I'm like, it was very dry.
that's what I loved, man. I don't know. Look, Joe, I know that you want this, but I guess here's the problem that I have, Joe. It feels to me like you want Saturday morning cartoon versions of DC.
Depends. I mean, it depends. Are we talking Super Friends or are we talking Batman the Animated Series? Because
Well,
I could definitely go Batman the Bruce Timm version. Yeah, I'm all for that.
look, I like that. I like that in an animated series. Okay. When I see live action, though, I just don't think that it works because I think that the decisions people make, they have more consequences than what we see in the animated series. You can get away with stuff in animation that you can't get away with in a live action setting. I mean, there's death, there's things that happen in the real world, and I just I just I'm just it's just an observation that I make, Joe, from a lot of the things that I see that you like or that you don't like, and when you talk about it, like I just for me, I think you're right where like I really loved Batman Begins because I felt that it was a nice real world version of Batman because honestly that's all we'd gotten up to that point was this fantastical over the top stuff, and look where that got us. It ended up at Batman and Robin, and just way over the top, just childish stuff that uh I don't think plays well to anyone. I mean, it didn't play well to kids. It didn't play well to adults. I mean, kids are more sophisticated nowadays. My kids even like they don't. My kids are good, like just quiet kids. Man, they kind of keep to themselves. They're not like all hyped up or violent or anything like that. And my kids are even like they like the realism in both the Christopher Nolan movies and especially Zack Snyder's movies, just because it makes sense to them. Makes sense of how this character would be. Now I get it. Marvel's doing this whole other thing where it's fanciful and it's colorful, but that's and I understand too that like sometimes people just don't want the world that we live in. They want this other world. I think there's room for all of it, but like I guess for me, like Zack Snyder's version of Batman was for me where I wanted to go with it. That's the line where I like to go with it, and that's where I say, okay, this is where I believe it should be, and this is where I feel comfortable and I'm good because I feel like it's real world enough where there are serious consequences. There are things that take place, but at the same time Ben Affleck's Batman is very much uh, different than any other. I mean, he's the only Batman to have a gray suit.
But
They didn't go black. They didn't go with the black suit. They didn't go with this, other tone. It's very comic booky.
but Affleck's Batman lived in a world where there was a Superman.
Yep.
So you could have Superman and Batman in that same world, whereas Christopher Nolan flat out said
Yeah.
Superman cannot exist in my universe because
Yeah.
he's not real, and that bugs me. It's like, for one thing, you're taking a character who is part of this universe, and you're. My attitude was always like, well, who the hell does Christopher Nolan think he is? I mean, he's coming into someone else's sandbox and he's going to make the rules.
Maybe, but he's not telling a Superman story though. He's telling a Batman story.
He wasn't telling a Superman story, but part of the reason the Justice League, the Justice League Mortal movie that George Miller was working on,
Yep.
part of the reason that had a separate cast was because of Christopher Nolan's demands that his Batman could not be part of that.
Yeah.
And that always struck me. Whenever people say, oh, DC's always playing catch up to Marvel, I always say blame Nolan. Blame Nolan, because when Marvel was building their universe, Christopher Nolan was the guy grabbing Batman and going, mine, don't touch. And it's like, I feel like he's the guy who set them back because he wasn't willing to be a team player.
That's an interesting way to look at it. I don't necessarily subscribe to that, but I mean, it's an interesting way to look at it.
I mean, the way I kind of look at it is just a director wanting to do a more, like, a very realistic-esque manner of a character that he wants to make a movie about, and it just was a trilogy just based on that character and characters and settings around the character. That's the way I saw it. It was just a trilogy focused on a single character, and I would say kind of hyper realistic in some manner, or more realistic than I've seen the character portrayed before that. Especially, with honestly, I can't remember the name. Batman Robin, who played, was that George Clooney?
Yeah, it's George Clooney.
But yeah, I kind of, I like your take, Joe. I can see what you mean. I'm just trying to process it, but you do have a point. You do have a good point.
Also, let's see. No, dude, that suit's straight up black, man. They've even talked about it. They've gone back to the black suit. Um, so, but that being said, yeah. That being said, this Batman movie, I'm concerned with this Batman movie. Uh, yeah, Spherical Man, you're absolutely right. Man Bat and Clayface actually would have worked in the Batman, in the Burton Batman. Uh,
I think they would have worked in the Affleck universe too. I mean, you had fanciful characters there. The thing I love about Man-Bat, I think Man-Bat's perfect because Man-Bat is like a dark gothic character. So it's not like it doesn't have to be silly. It could be more scary and more but
Yeah.
it's also fantastic. It's
Yeah.
like it's a good line between Batman and Robin, which is silly, and Nolan, which is ultra realistic. You got this line where a creature like Man-Bat exists. It's got to be a little darker.
I agree with you that I do think that characters like Man Bat or Clayface or whatever could have worked in the Snyderverse because
Oh, for sure.
because you did have this magical end to it. What started off very very grounded with Man of Steel opened itself up to many different interpretations and many different things, magic and science and and things like that, because you had the other heroes and you had these other worlds. You had Aquaman, you had the Flash, you had Wonder Woman coming from Themyscira, and so you had all that. I guess my concern about the Batman, I mean, look, I'm going to go see it too. I have reservations about this movie because somebody mentioned just a few minutes ago that it looks like Seven, and I agree. This looks like a straight up horror movie in many ways, and I don't know that I want my Batman to go there. Like I said, with the Snyderverse, I really liked where that went. I'm good with that. I feel like this almost steps over that and it goes into this weird territory where like it's no longer just a dark, gritty Batman world. It's like straight up like scary, I don't know what. So I'm waiting to Music Man says that's good, and I know that everybody likes something different. Like I get that.
Yeah.
My concern is with this. I just don't know. I want to see it for myself. I want to be able to then make the decision.
I want to see the thing.
Does this work for me? You know what I mean? As a Batman fan, as a longtime Batman fan, does this work for me? I want to see the thing.
Like it's a massive thing, and so I want to see his thing.
I was waiting for you to play the clip. I was trying to set it up.
I'll say something else. This Slash Film article, they're going on and on about a different take on the character. Like it says, what can they do to make this one different? What could they? Why does everything got to be different? Why not just tell good stories? It's like what maybe what's different is that you're telling a story that hasn't been told before.
Yeah, I mean, from my point of view, it's going like heavily into the psychological effect of Batman and like overall his trauma, and that's kind of like what this synopsis of the movie is kind of detailing. I guess is really going and talking about that, which I think is a very cool thing. I'm really curious to see kind of like how exactly are they going to portray this. I know they mentioned something like he's like did it mention like he's a serial killer or something like that, like. Or something like that. What did they exactly say?
He's tracking a serial killer, which it sounds like he's tracking the Riddler, who's leaving all these, clues for him and whatnot, and so.
Because like I don't know what I read. I saw something on IG. I think I posted it in the private chat. Something that IGN said. And I think they made it sound like he was a serial killer, unless I just did not read it perfectly.
Well, that was that. Yeah. So that was the comment that it said that he realizes that he's on the verge of because it's the last thing in the comment. It says Robert Pattinson delivers a raw, intense portrayal of Batman as a disillusioned, desperate vigilante awakened by the realization that the anger consuming him makes him no better than the ruthless serial killer he's hunting.
So it's definitely suggesting that he's going to be very violent and kind of brutal with his obviously searching down and hunting down the Riddler, which from the trailers it pretty much seems like he's gonna be pretty, you know, unhinged, it seems. But then again, when has Batman ever been, you know, hinged before? Yeah. And I really do
like Batman and Robin. He's pretty hinged right there. If that ain't hinged, I don't know what. I mean, George Clooney acts like nothing bothers him at all in Batman and Robin.
I haven't seen that movie in a long time, and I don't know if I am gonna watch that movie anytime soon. But I'm like, a huge.
We've got a T-shirt in our Teespring that says "You never go full Clooney."
Yeah, but I'm a huge fan of the Arkham games, and I think this movie kind of fits really well with kind of like the style and kind of the atmosphere that those games portray. Like, gives me like Arkham Knight vibes, if anyone has played that. And I would really love to kind of see them expand Matt Reeves' universe or something like that with his Batman, because aren't they making more than just this one? I'm pretty sure.
Supposedly. Yeah.
I mean, they could definitely have Man-Bat in here, you know. I would love to see Man-Bat. I also, there's some other characters from the Arkham games that are from the comic books that I would love to see too, because if they're kind of set, because like from the trailers it kind of looks like it's very kind of dark, and like you said, it could be, you know, it's kind of like horror movie-esque. So I mean, they could definitely fit in some of those very kind of like out of the box type characters that haven't been really seen on film yet. They could definitely add some of those, such as Man-Bat.
Well, they could. It'll be interesting to see if they do. I will not say whether or not Man-Bat or, you know, one of those characters will work in this until I actually see the movie, and I can say, you know, for sure, hey, this works or not.
I mean, isn't this supposed to be year 2? So I still think, like, I'm in my mind, I'm still thinking like this movie's gonna kind of show like an evolution of him, like one, like you said, coming into realization about many things and kind of dealing with his past traumas and stuff like that, and then evolving into a better sort of heroic figure or vigilante as it's described. But I think by the end of the movie we'll see like possibly a different suit or something like that, because, you know, that's how, like, you know, superhero movie works. They always gotta have a brand new suit by the end of the film. Yeah. So I figure that they're gonna evolve, and then it's gonna be. I just have a feeling that this suit that we're seeing now is kind of like his, you know, first suit. That's why, you know, the cowl looks kind of like it's, you know, stitched together and kind of, you know, quality.
So I think it's a good thing. Why don't you guys want to try to rate the who's your Batman?
Oof.
From worst to best.
It's very difficult. I mean, because I think the worst is Clooney, but I also feel like it's kind of unfair to Clooney because he never stood a chance. Like none of them would have been good with that script. That script was so bad.
Not only they had nipples on their suit, man. They had nipples on their suit.
Affleck and Christian Bale couldn't have made that work either. So it's like,
nah.
You know, but I don't know, Affleck's my favorite, probably followed by Michael Keaton.
Yeah, I mean, I would I grew up when I was like really young. My dad had the DVDs of the Batman films, and he kind of showed me that of Keaton, and that's kind of what I had all the way up until the Batman Begins came out. But I just have man, I've seen all the Batman movies from Christian Bale in theaters, so I would have to say, I don't know. This is hard. I would say, man. See, this is why I don't do these rankings, because it's difficult, because it's like my nostalgia and my memories cloud my judgment. But yeah, it's a tie between Affleck and Bale, and then I would say like maybe third is Keaton or second. I don't know, but Keaton, Bale, and then Affleck are definitely my top 3. I just don't know which order to put them in.
Well, I know exactly what order I put everybody in, for sure. Clooney, absolutely last. And here's the thing: Clooney admits he phoned it in. So it's Clooney admits that it's not just everybody else's fault. It's his fault as well, and I appreciate that. But yeah, I mean, look, he doesn't even appear to put anything into the different characters. So Clooney's definitely last,
and he's a great actor too. So it was really surprising to kind of like watch him, be like, wow, this is
second. I gotta go Adam West, only for the fact, and not because I think that he played it bad, but just because it's just an older version that I don't think works anymore, and they played it, tongue in cheek, you know what I mean? Like they meant to play it that way. So, but I think for what his day was and what they were trying to do, he played it spot on. Okay. The only one that I think is actually bad is George Clooney. I actually think Adam West did a great job as Batman. He was Batman for decades. He was Batman, animated, live action, whatever. He was Batman, and I've met the man, and he was Batman. Okay, I believe he's Batman. Is he the same Batman as other characters? No. But he was Batman of that time. He was absolutely Batman of that time. Then I got to go... then it gets kind of hard for me because I think I got to go Val Kilmer. But Val Kilmer's a good Batman. He was a good Batman. That Batman Forever was a good movie. I enjoyed it. Then I got to go Christian Bale. Because I really enjoyed Christian Bale. I love Christian Bale's portrayal as Batman. I love those movies. The third one loses me a little bit simply because it's the storyline, that I'm just not into. But it's okay, because I don't dig the what's that storyline called?
No Man's Land.
No Man's Land. I just don't like it. I don't like No Man's Land. I don't believe it. I don't believe that the government just goes, yeah, you can have Gotham. All of you little crime lords and stuff like that. You guys can have Gotham. We'll just stay out of it. We won't send in SEAL Team 6 and literally just cap you. No, we'll go after terrorists and stuff in foreign countries, but something right here on our own eastern seaboard, a major city. That's the weird thing about Gotham for me in the comics and everything. It's it's always, this city has a history and everything, whatever. Okay. But if it gets that bad, the government's going to step in. It happens. I'm literally in a city, man, where there's been corruption for decades. And guess what? The government stepped in. Didn't have a mayor for the longest time. We had a mayor, but they were ineffectual. The city council couldn't vote on anything. We literally had an emergency manager who started making decisions about stuff. So the government steps in, man. And so I just don't believe it. But anyways, going on from there. Then, of course, Michael Keaton is number 2, even though he was my childhood Batman. And Ben Affleck definitely is number 1 for me, just because I love that portrayal. And it's the portrayal of just as Henry Cavill was the portrayal of Superman that I always wanted to see. Ben Affleck was the Batman that I've always wanted to see and that I've always had in my own head. When I was sitting playing with my own action figures as a kid, that was Batman. That's exactly I don't care if I was playing with my Superpowers action figure when he was the gray and blue and yellow, man. That was the Batman because that's how I felt that Batman should be. So, but so that's my ranking. Pattinson, I look forward to seeing him. I look forward to seeing what he does. And hopefully a year from now, I'm sitting here going, hey, you know what? Pattinson is spot on, and I love it.
You know what, Enosh? You and I are, I think we're lockstep on that, the way you ranked those. I'd go with you 100% on that.
Yeah, and and here's the thing about Pattinson, too. Look, I am always willing to admit when I'm wrong. Look, for weeks, for months, Jimbo, how long have I been talking about this? About Eternals? Right?
Long time.
How long have I been saying I don't care about Eternals? Literally getting into it with William sometimes, just dude, I don't care. I don't care how important they are to the MCU. I don't, or the Marvel universe in general. I just don't care. I don't know these characters. There's nothing about this that looked interesting to me. I still think that the trailers didn't help anybody.
Yeah, I think you've been talking and saying this since the first was it a teaser? I don't think it was a full trailer. I think it was a teaser. I think you've been saying it since the first teaser. I know we got all of us in our chat got in a huge debate over it.
Yeah. Oh, Cherie, you're right. Kevin Conroy's an honorable mention in there.
I was going to definitely mention.
But he's not live action. And you know
well,
what? And I'm
Batwoman.
I'm not gonna get into all the animated ones just because there are other people also who have
Olan Soule.
I would prefer.
voiced,
I was about to say I prefer Kevin Conroy as Batman over George Clooney.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was gonna say. I was like, then I saw people saying in the comments.
I don't want to see him do it in live action. I mean, I honestly, I thought that thing on Batwoman was like, it was a nice nod. I liked the nod, but I didn't believe Kevin Conroy was a live action Batman.
Yeah, I know. I didn't believe. I mean, I like it. Cool. He plays
nod.
he plays he plays such a great voice for Batman. Like it's spot on. But physically no.
Dietrich Batter's also very good.
That's true.
And
yep.
The voice of Batman in my head, when I read comics, the voice I hear for Batman is always going to be Olan Soule, because he was the voice of Batman when I was growing up. Every time there was a Super Friends cartoon or something, that was the voice of Batman.
Mm.
You hear that voice?
Yeah.
Like absolutely no gravel at all.
That's the voice of Batman in my head.
Hey, Boy Wonder? That's fine. And that explains a lot about you, Joe. And that's why I love you, man. No, what was I saying? But yeah, I'm always willing to admit when I'm wrong. And look, I went to go see Eternals and I loved it. I gave it an 8 out of 10. I thought it was great. Okay. So, that's the thing. That's all I'll say about that. I hope that a year from now, I'm like, hey, you know what? That dude just absolutely nailed it. You know what I mean? Just absolutely nailed it. I hope so. So we shall see.
I'm excited to see it. I'm really excited. It's probably one of my most hyped movies to see. That's a movie that I will not wait to see. I mean, Eternals. I'm gonna wait to see. I don't really, I'm not too pressed. I gotta go see this. This is a game changer. No, I'm gonna do that for Batman.
Last night I thought to myself, I don't know that I'll ever watch the Eternals again. Now I'm thinking I might want to see it again, just to see if my feeling. Because here's the thing. I was very disappointed by the movie, but I also didn't stop thinking about the movie. So it's one of those things where it's I want to give it a second viewing and see how it sits with me after a second viewing. But as of right now, after one viewing, it's dead last on my ranking of MCU.
Wow.
It's lower than Thor: The Dark World, which was my.
Oh no! I feel like I need a drop. For when because I don't ever have the right drop. I think just
I don't
a
think
funny
I've
drop.
ever,
I feel like any drop that I play is going to be too serious for that. Because man, dude, seriously,
I never heard a movie that Joe dislikes that much. I think.
Well, that's the thing. I don't think it's a bad movie. I don't think it's a terrible. I don't. It's not an embarrassment. It's not. It's just too long. It takes itself too seriously. Yeah, it's
But how long is the movie though?
It's 2.5 hours, but it feels longer.
No.
What?
No,
so 2.5 hours objectively
me.
isn't long. I mean, most action movies and stuff like that are around that time frame or less, low. But is it just the pacing that makes it feel long?
I think it's the pacing. I think the movie needs more levity. Kumail brings a levity to the film that it needs, and it's another one of my least favorite MCU movies is Black Panther, because again, it's a film that I think takes itself too seriously, and then every time Shuri is on screen, she's hilarious, and it's okay, but she's not on screen enough. I don't know. And it's a dense movie. There's so many characters and so many ideas. I think it might have been served better, quite frankly, as a Disney Plus series. I think if they had done...
We're getting right there, Darkseid's mother. Interesting. We're getting right there. What's up, Rhea? What's up, Rhea?
Hey, Rhea.
Hey, Rhea. Oh, Rhea. I got you a Dark Halloween right here. Or Dark Halloween.
Long Halloween.
It's long and dark.
Oh my lord!
It's a long, dark Halloween.
She's probably enjoying her new PC.
It's long and dark, like Craig Robinson.
Didn't mean that. Anyways, No. So so there you go. That's that, and we'll be moving right along to our next topic. Look, I'm looking forward to the Batman. I just hope that it is all that it's cracked up to be.
Oh,
That synopsis is very intriguing.
It's interesting to say the least.
That it brings Batman back from the dark side. I will say this though. I want to see the people who next year like love all over this film, who said that Ben Affleck's Batman is too dark. That's what I want to see, because that's going to be, I think, the thing that ticks me off a little bit.
Did people say that?
Oh yeah, dude. I lost a friend, Joe, over Batman v Superman.
Wow.
I literally lost a friend in real life over Batman v Superman.
What was Ben Affleck's Batman any darker than Christian Bale's? I don't see it.
Listen. This friend of mine, I mean, like, we weren't like longtime friends, but we had been friends for a couple of years. He was a pastor. Now, I will say this, the guy has a lot of other issues, okay? He's no longer a pastor. He's no longer a minister. He had a lot of other issues to him. He was kind of weird, but he was a huge Batman fan, okay? Huge Batman fan. I'm a huge Superman fan. We got along so well for a while, okay? He refused to go see Batman v Superman based on the trailers alone and what he was told about it. And I was just like, dude, like, why would you, like, he's a huge DC fan. I was like, dude, why wouldn't you just go see it? Like, just go check it out. And his whole thing was, I heard Batman kills in this, and I'm not going to go see something that Batman kills.
Wow, it's one of
and I was like, wait, hold on, what? He's like, I heard Batman kills. I said, well, hold on, man. I said, you realize, like, because here's the thing, and here's where him and I, we broke up and parted ways, was because I reminded him, because his favorite Batman is my second favorite Batman, and next to Ben Affleck, my favorite Batman, which is Michael Keaton. And I reminded him, I said, dude, Michael Keaton, his Batman kills.
Blows
Batman
up a
kills
dude.
a bunch of people. Like, there's a whole body count, dude, of that. And I'm like, every iteration of Batman has killed. Like, it's just dependent upon how far you want to take it. And the thing is like, he's like, Batman never uses a gun. And so we were in a private chat, and I just started sending him links to every time Batman has used a gun, showing him pictures and stuff and video and stuff of that. And he just got mad at me. And he's just like, no, Batman does not do this. And I'm like, dude, you can say that you don't like Batman doing it. Okay. I mean, like, that's an opinion,
ignore
right?
that he does.
To say, I don't like the idea of Batman killing, that's fine. That's absolutely acceptable. But you can't sit back and say Batman doesn't kill when Batman did this.
Previously on Batman Returns, Batman was walking around with a bomb, pissed. Big Nasty showed up. Hey, Batman, I heard you don't be killing people. He heard wrong.
Enosh, I'm not disagreeing with you on anything. You're absolutely right. But I think part of the problem is that in the comics in recent years, they have in the comics tried to push the idea in the more modern comics, Batman doesn't kill, Batman doesn't kill, Batman doesn't kill. And I think people who don't go reading all the, the history, they're seeing that. And I think if DC didn't push that so hard, because clearly it's not true, I think that's why people get that in their head.
Oh, I agree. But see, that was the thing that, like, him and I were talking about. And I told him, I said, man, I get it. But here's the thing. He was like, well, I've been reading. The guy was like 5 years older than me. Okay. Literally only like 5 years older than me. And here's the thing. He's like, Enosh, I've been reading comics, for longer. And I said, really? I said, well, here's the thing, man. That's great and all, but I have access to all the same comics that you have access to. It's not like because you were born 5 years before me that you got to read comics that I never got to read, and he was talking about going way back and stuff. And I'm like, dude, I get it. And I wasn't being rude to him. I was just like, dude, you can't say that Batman doesn't do something that Batman has done throughout history. You can say I don't like it when he does it. Like look, Protoss X here just made a statement, and I can respect this. He says, I don't mind Batman killing, but I don't like him using guns. Okay? If Protoss X says, I don't mind him killing, or Protoss X says, like, Batman doesn't use guns in some iterations, and it's sometimes Batman doesn't use guns. But think about every Batmobile. Batmobile's literally like hauling machine guns, man, on the Batmobile. When he's flying the Batwing in Batman 89, he's targeting Jack Nicholson's Joker and trying to shoot him. Okay? It just, you know what I mean? Like that's my thing. Like he literally, I mean, and beside the gun thing, I mean, like he I've said this many times on the channel here. He does the flip at the end and stuff and grabs the one guy by the head, nailing him into the bell and then dropping him down the bell tower. That dude's dead. That dude ain't alive. Like there ain't no getting back from that. Like, you know what I mean? Like that dude's dead and Batman literally threw him down there. And so like then there's circumstantial stuff like, like when the Joker dies at the end of Batman, right? So I don't really necessarily count that because like Batman, yes, does the things that led to his death, with the Joker and stuff, but it's not, it is direct, but it's not direct. Like you could make an argument that he didn't mean to kill him, that he just meant to stop. But when you got a helicopter pulling off on one side and his leg is attached to the gargoyle on the other side, you had a hand in it. If I did that, and the guy died, guess what? I'd be going to jail because I attached him to it. I attached him to a gargoyle and stopped from doing it. Like, and that's just, that's the thing. But my friend would not listen to reason and literally said, don't talk to me anymore. And the guy has never talked to me since. And that's where I mean, like that was the early days of the channel and stuff. And that's why I always tell people, guys, look, this stuff is great. Like I love nerd debates, but come on, I literally, the last message that I think I sent him was, dude, we're adults, man. And you're literally like ready to walk away from me as a person over Batman. Like I love Batman, don't get me wrong, but like come on guys, don't like why so I don't know.
This reminds me of the old Onion article with the headline, when you're ready to have a serious conversation about Green Lantern, you have my email address.
I'm just, I don't understand when people take these things way too seriously, and it's very unfortunate. And so that's why I always try to tell people, like, look, nothing is worth losing friends in real life over just because you like a certain thing or don't like a certain thing. That's why I end my streams the way I do, man, because I want people to have good conversations, right? I mean, be willing to talk about stuff. And so, yeah, hysterical, man. You're right. Batman, he used other people. Yeah. Protoss X. It is, man. It sucks. It sucks to lose a friend over a disagreement like that. Now, I mean, I found out some stuff about him later that I was like, probably didn't lose much, but look, I just, if you're going to lose a friend over a disagreement, I would say let it at least be like over something that, I don't know, like is like something important in the real world, like over, I don't know, man. Like even then I feel like, like I try to be reasonable with everybody, but yeah, it's the weird thing, but,